Hello and welcome back to our video series on Microsoft Fabric. Today we have the fourth video in our series, and we are going to be talking a little bit more about Microsoft Fabric, in particular how you should pick a Fabric Premium Capacity SKU. All right, so quick review from the last video. You can purchase Microsoft Fabric SKUs using both a Microsoft Azure and Microsoft 365. If you purchase them using Microsoft Azure, they're going to be pay-as-you-go. You can get discounts for reservations. They'll auto-scale. You can pause and resume them, and then you'll also get access to things like Azure, cost analysis and stuff like that. In Microsoft 365, you can purchase a P SKU of a certain level, so a P64 SKU that will be either monthly or annually on contract, and you will get Fabric capabilities. One word of warning, Microsoft has announced they're going to be discontinuing the P SKUs. So now that we reviewed that, let's figure out what kind of SKU you actually need. Because one of the things that you might have picked up in our last video is Microsoft Fabric can be kind of expensive. So Microsoft recommends us considering a few different things when choosing a SKU. So for data engineering workloads, they recommend that we consider Spark and then starter pools. And then for data warehousing workloads, they recommend us that we consider bursting capacity. So what is Spark? Well, Apache Spark is an open source technology. It's essentially a computer system or like software that allows for distributed computing with big data. It typically does that distributed computing across what are called clusters, or as Microsoft refers to, Spark clusters. And those clusters are made up of things called nodes. And nodes are typically individual machines or individual little workers. And nodes can be configured with a varying number of cores. Okay, so you have, if we're looking at this, we have a Spark cluster. Within a cluster, you have nodes. Within nodes, you have cores. Okay, so far, are you following? With a Microsoft Fabric capacity, you get 2 cores for every single capacity unit. So what does that mean? Well, let's go back here and let's look at these licenses, right? So if you get 2 Spark cores for every single capacity unit, if you have an F2 SKU with 2 capacity units, you're going to get 4 Spark cores, okay? These Spark cores are shareable across data engineering Fabric items like notebooks, scheduled notebooks, so jobs or lake houses. If you're using Fabric and you essentially consume all your cores via nodes, Microsoft Fabric will, if queuing is enabled, it'll essentially start to queue up the jobs that you have and run them as they're available. Microsoft also allows for you to do this thing called bursting, which is if you have a bunch of stuff or trying to run all at once, you can essentially consume up to 3x the vCores associated with the capacity, so you can run jobs at the same time, but a single job or like data warehousing job cannot consume the 3x. So I just word vomited a little, but let's just kind of quickly review what that means. So if you have an F2 SKU, you're going to get 4 Apache Spark cores, okay? And you can burst. So if you have multiple jobs trying to run all at once, you can use 3x the vCores associated with that capacity. So that would mean if you have 4 with your F2, you can then use up to 12 at one single time. Okay, so let's go back here. So the other thing that they recommend you considering is for data engineering workloads are what they call starter pools. And what a starter pool is it's a Spark cluster that's already turned on and running. And the reason why you'd want one is because frankly, Spark clusters can take a little little while to turn on. And you might have a engineering job that needs to run at a given point in time, and it doesn't have the latency or, kind of the built-in buffer to allow for a Spark pool to turn on. Spark pools can also automatically adjust the number of nodes, and as a result, the number of clusters that they are included based on essentially what the job requires. Typically, a Fabric capacity is going to have a starter pool, and then you can create additional custom pools for workspaces or items in that capacity. And you can configure the number of nodes that are in a starting pool within the workspace setting. So the reason why this is important when you're choosing what kind of Fabric capacity that you're using is because these cores that you get, and then this essentially bursting capability, right? It's going to be limited by your SKU size. Okay, the final thing that they recommend for data warehousing is that you consider burstable capacity. So continuing on with burstable capacity is essentially going to be capacity or something that's going to kick in any single time that your Fabric scale factor is over a 1. And you might be like, Fabric scale factor, oh, what is that? Well, the Fabric scale factor is calculated by the total number of CUs used divided by the total amount of time. And let's go back over to this capacity just looking at me. So it's the total number of capacity units used divided by the total number of time a job took to run or something took to run on a data warehouse divided by the baseline capacity unit. So let's just say, and this is the example Microsoft has on their site, is if your job consumed 1,500 CUs and ran for 100 seconds on a F8 premium capacity, you would have a scale factor of 1.875. You can get the total number of capacity units that a job is consuming using the Fabric Metrics app, which is something we're going to be diving into in a later on video. But if your bursting capacity is over 1, you're going to be bursting. So what is bursting? Bursting is when you are borrowing capacity from the future amount of your time. This is essentially a Fabric concept called smoothing. So let's just say all of your jobs run at 7 a.m. and then at 12 a.m. nothing's happening. With bursting, you're essentially borrowing your capacity units from the future and using them in like a peak time. So if you maybe had 2 capacity units ready at all times available and you're not using them at 12 a.m., with bursting, you're essentially bringing them into the present. There is a limit to how much bursting can happen, essentially, so I would assume so you don't go into capacity unit debt, right, with Microsoft. And that's related directly to the size of the Fabric SKU that you're being used. This is called the burstable scale factor, and Microsoft does have a formula on their website for this. If you try to run a query and you hit your burstable scale factor, you're going to be getting error messages and your users are going to be happy, which then means you need a larger capacity. So let's understand how this plays into what kind of Fabric SKU you need, which is ultimately what this video is meant to help you inform. Well, first you need to understand how many Spark vCores you're going to need. So that's going to be dependent on how many objects that you're creating and that you're trying to run that utilize Spark. The other thing you're going to be needing to understand is how much bursting or like how many intense periods do you have, and are your users going to be impacted by when they try to run like essentially a high computational or a query that requires a lot of compute during a really high traffic time. All right, so I know that was a lot. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'm enjoying learning a lot about this, and I will include a link to this article right here, and then you can read more about Spark, starter pools, and burstable capacities right here on these links. If you have any additional questions, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and you learned something, give it a like. And if you're interested in learning more about Microsoft Fabric, in particular, passing the DP600 exam, subscribe, just to kind of give you guys an overview of where we are. We're currently working through, this is the DP600 study guide, and we're currently working through the first bullet point on the study guide, which is identifying requirements for solution, including components, features, performance, and capacity stock keeping units, SKUs. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good evening.